Otepuke shamans. Let's continue our analysis of the Ani Papyrus, and we're going to continue from where we left off last time, which was around this area, where it reads, "Ascribe ye praise to Ra, the Lord of Heaven, the King, or actually Prince, life, strength, and health, the Maker of the gods. Give ye thanks unto him in his beneficent form, which is enthroned in the Adet boat." Okay? And so, we find in the text where this begins, and that would be Amaun Ro. Here. Amau in Ro. Nepet Achi Ankh Uja Sanub Ari Neteru Duatensu Im Arufe Nefer Kafe Adet. Again, starting here. Amau Nro Nebpet Ati Ankh Uja Sanub Ari Neteru Duatensu Arufe Nefer Kafe Adedet. Okay. Alright, let's unpack this. So this phrase here, Ammaunro, meaning down here, ascribe ye praise to Ra. What this means is praise your chart. It's saying here, treat your chart like it is a god, for it is the mark of heaven upon you. Your chart is really a map, an X-ray, what we call Ra here, the sun's line of gods, or the ecliptic. Yes? Your chart is really an X-ray of your psychology. What we call psychology in the white man's world was called spirituality or initiation in the black man's Kemetic world. So instead of going to some person's office, laying on a couch for an hour and whining about your problems, what we did in Kemet was you engaged your problems in a very creative, artistic, theatrical way through initiation, where you played your issues out mythically through mythic encounters with serpents or monsters or winged angels, Neteru, and stories from the myths. So all things in your life, all issues you go through have been written already. You aren't the first person to go through sadness and loss and death and renewal of spirit. These were ancient mythic tales of the dynamics of the human psychology. So this line here, Ammaunro, ascribe praise to your astrology chart, your African astrology chart. You must be very careful with this. We use a very precise calculation. Remember, astrology is really the meaning of astronomy. So what I'm saying is that astronomy is a science. It's pure math. In the old days, to be an astrologer, you had to be a mathematician to know how to measure things like latitude and longitude and azimuth and rotation. It was pure math. And then when you studied the meaning of those cold, hard numbers, you were then an astrologer. So in the old days, to know yourself, you had to become a mathematician, and particularly an astronomer. And then the numbers of those calculations were connected to myths. So math became myth. So we have mythical math, mythic math, which you know as a great storyline of the gods playing out fractally, meaning similar but slightly different. If you're not sure what I mean by fractals, I have a video on the Mandelbrot fractal and the beetle Kepera. It goes into that more in detail, but it means things are similar yet slightly different. That your chart, the things you go through in your second house of money, your seventh house of marriage, your fifth house of creativity, your ups and downs are actually ancient myths playing out through you in this time and space nexus. So your journey is mythic. Your journey is of the gods. That's why they say ascribe praise to Ra. Hail the mythical storylines. The theatrical theater has the root theos in it, meaning God, like theology. Theater was the arena where the people saw the mystery plays, the plays of the adventures of the gods. That was what theater was originally. And it was to give you an experience of that storyline, that particular myth of the culture, in a very dramatic and a very emotionally driven way. Because it was filled with music and rhythm and dance and song and color and setting, scenery, it threw the viewer into trance. Trance is a neteru, it is a deity to us. We call it Khonsu, the moon god. And it is sacred. Now the white man uses trance, but he rapes trance. He rapes it quite boldly. Whenever you watch a commercial with music jingles and fancy colors and people laughing and smiling, it's putting you into a trance, into a divine state. But then he poisons you with products. He puts you into a sacred state and then stamps some stupid product for you to buy. That's very dangerous because he's playing with the god Khonsu and raping Khonsu's powers for profit. You see? But theater was a very controlled way of initiates having an opportunity to dramatically express the stories they've been working on, the mythic tales they've been studying, through drama and theater for the observation of the public. So while the performer is going through his lines of the gods, to him these lines are very personal because he has gone through an initiatic personal experience of what the line really means, whereas the audience is simply watching it for entertainment purposes, really for moral fortification. The word entertain comes from the French word entretenir. Entretenir. Entre means between. Tenir means to hold. So entretenir, entertain, means to hold you in between something, to seize you or capture you. So entertainment is holding you between waking and sleeping consciousness, what we call trance. When you watch a movie, you're kind of lost in that story. You're in the storyline, you're in the movie, you're in the TV screen, you're with the character, you're between your world and the theatrical world. You're somewhere in between, entertained, held in the middle. And it's important that you be careful what you're programming when you're in that in-between meditational trance state, because whatever you program will grow. That's why the white man is so rich in this sense, because he programs you with consumerism constantly. Every time you watch a show, there's 50 hours of commercials programming you to buy. One of the most vulgar uses of this is the Christmas season, where the white man is so irreligious that he has even turned his own so-called religion into profit. It's disgusting. There is more Christmas crap sold during the holidays, the white man's holidays, And it's about consumerism. The way you celebrate this day is you buy things, you buy toys, and it's just disgusting. To us, the winter solstice is a time of quietness, of reflection, meditation. You don't go out shopping and drinking and so-called celebrating with liquor and booze and food and loud noises and parties. No, it's the time when the divine in you, the gay ancestors, are closest to us. It's a very intimate time with the light of heaven. You don't want to poison that up with drugs and alcohol and so-called partying and so-called fun. And definitely not consumerism of Christmas toys and presents. So he does not praise Ra. He does not ascribe praise to Ra, the life force that is your chart. He ascribes praise to consume, consume, consume. What I call the demon Prophetos, who rules the white man's world. The real god of the white man is the demon Prophetos. Prophetos at any cost. Everything has a price to it in his world. And this demon, who runs the white world, makes sure all of his little subjects obey him. So here we're saying, praise your chart, for it is giving you the mythic revelation of your own psychology. Then it goes on. The Lord of Heaven, here, Neb, this glyph is Neb, and this is Pet. PT and the glyph for the vault of heaven. Lord of Heaven. Okay, now, Lord of Heaven. Heaven is code for your mind. So it's saying that when you give praise to your chart, and how do you praise your chart? The word here, praise. Au. I see here, amma, au. From here, au, to this man with his arms up is the word to praise. Amma means to ascribe or to kind of give, and au means to praise. Okay? But there's an interesting little message in this word au here, or yao. This little plant is a flowering reed. It refers to the concept of that which is. This vulture here, this bird, deals with the idea of to come to be. So that which comes to be, this little oo, this quail chick, means place or golden ratio spiral or stillness, because little quail chicks, when they're threatened, become dead still. So that which becomes the still point or the concentration, meditation on the Fibonacci or the golden ratio spiral in the sky. Okay, that which becomes meditating on the golden phi ratio spiral quietly in the sky of your chart. Meaning that what you're praising is the perfect karmic harmonies, the mathematical behavior of karma, which is your chart. That what you have in your chart, the bad planets, the good planets, the bad houses, the good houses, whatever, are actually given to you by right of consciousness. You have what you have by karma. And we teach you in the Golden Beetle training how to go into your past lives to see why you have that chart this way, why you have a funny love planet, a funny money planet, a funny mother planet where your mother's mean to you. We show you how to retrieve those memories to see how that spiraled down very organically into this experience, in this chart, in this life. Okay? So you want to praise that which becomes the meditation of the golden phi spiral in the sky of your chart. You see? So, then it says if you study your chart from the point of view that you have all that you deserve by right of consciousness and karma, then it says here your chi, your life force, or your kundalini, Ra, will prove that he's Nebpet, Lord of Heaven, Lord of your mind. In other words, your chart, when you praise your chart, when you elevate it, you improve it, you do what we call Cobra Yoga, Ku Yoga, or Kundalini Yoga, which is also Ra, on your chart. You meditate on the patterns in your chart, the spiraling patterns in your chart. What will happen is your mind, you start to gain control over your mind. That's why it's called Nebpet, Lord of Heaven or Lord of your mind. The study of your chart makes you Lord of your mind, Lord of your inner heaven, because heaven is upwards where your head is. So your chart's analysis makes you Lord over your psychology. You understand yourself. Nebpet can be translated as know thyself. Be Lord of your head, Lord of your mind, Lord of your upper region of the head, the heavens. Then it says, Ati or Achi, Ankh Uja Sanub, Prince of eternal life, Ankh, Uja, and Sanub. I love this phrase here. The positive affirmation being revealed here is really stunning. First it says, Achi, which means prince. You see, a prince means you've inherited something. Prince of who? Prince of Ra. That your charts, karmas, are inherited from your life force of Ra, which includes your ancestors. Many of your traits in your chart come from your lineage, your forebearers, as well as your own personal past life karmas. So it's saying you're not an island. There are things in you that come from other family members that happen to have fluxed inside of you this particular lifetime. So this reminds you of that your chart, and I've done astrology for over 20 years, and I have a particular class that I teach called Dynasty Astrology. And what that deals with is we do group charts. We get as many charts of your family members, as far back as you can go, and all included. All your nieces, nephews, uncles, aunts, children, great-grandparents, grandparents. We get as many of a batch we can, a basket full. I run the calculations of them according to our gay shamans' calculations of Egyptian astrology. And then I do a certain feature of pattern searching. And we find that you will find that in a batch of family charts, certain things keep recurring. Like you may have, for example, over and over and over, your Binamo Sar or Venus in a certain house, maybe in the third house. So maybe out of 20 charts, 17 of them have Binamo Sar in the third house, or linked to the god of the third house in some way, some kind of connection. And this pattern or this strange attractor happens more times than not when you do batch, ancestor, or dynasty astrology. And it shows you that your chart is part of a larger pattern of your bloodline. Because the function of children is to finish the foreparents' unfinished business. What your parents and grandparents couldn't finish, it's your job to finish for them. This is the function of ancestors and their children. Okay? So this phrase, Achi, is saying that you are inheriting traits in this chart of yours, that your mind, Nepet, your mind, would be very similar to your blood, many grandma, great-grandpa, or so and so. Also, this Achi lets you know You are the child of a god. You are the prince of Ra. Here, Ra, a god. This little glyph here, this sitting man, means a Neteru, a god. So you are the prince of divine royalty. What does that mean? Think about it. If you were, and you knew it, you knew that you are the prince of a king, shouldn't you have high self-esteem? Shouldn't you treat yourself well? Shouldn't you expect the finest things in life? Shouldn't you hold your head up high? You see? This beautiful phrase is saying, you deserve the best in life the way any prince would expect. So it's kind of reading you. If you have low self-esteem issues, or you don't value yourself, or you think down on yourself, it's reading you, this line. It's saying, how dare you? How dare you forget? You are part of a lineage of the god of light, Ra himself. The life force gave birth to you. And as such, you are its royal heir, so act like that. Gay men, stand up. Particularly black gay men, stand up. Stand up nice and tall with a royal posture. Hold your head up high being black gay man. Don't settle. Be a prince. Have a wonderful financial bank account with too much money. Too much money means, in economics, surplus. They call it surplus. Surplus means you have more than you need for survival. Quite a bit more. So have a royal treasury, a surplus treasury. Have royal homes. Wear Kemetic royal clothes. We're having one of our initiates starting an authentic Kemetic fashion line. You often see me when I'm on the YouTubes wearing Kemetic clothes and Kemetic jewelry. These were all handmade pieces based upon deep research of Kemetic jewelry and clothing and wigs. The wigs I wear are all handmade. Each wig I have was handmade, hand-woven with human hair. Black human hair. It's thick and kinky. Good hair. So, carry yourself with dignity, young princes, young heirs. You understand? That's why I love this line. We are all part of the royalty of the life force. And if we honor the life force in our charts, then we'll start magnetizing the finest of things in life, the finest mates. Not some idiot from a garbage bin you found at a club somewhere who's full of drugs and alcohol. Not cheap clothing, not cheap homes and cheap cars, but the best, right? Young heirs of the gods. Then it says Ankh Uja Sanup. Now let's look at this word Ankh, because there's a lot of mess flying around about this word Ankh. I speak 7 languages. I love language. Since I was in high school, I've always loved languages. When I was in high school, I won awards. Before I finished high school, my 12th senior year, I spoke 6 languages thoroughly and have won awards. It runs in my family, a gift for languages. Again, I inherited a certain way of understanding many ways of communicating. So when I study the glyphs, I study it very, very thoroughly, linguistically. I don't make things up. I don't throw this in an opinion. I read the text, I learned the grammar, and like any linguist, studied the text. So the word Ankh, I've heard people say this Ankh, this loop here is the womb of the woman, and this is the phallus of the man, and a lot of the hetero Kemetic community, Brother Samaj, Dr. Ben, they're all homophobes. A lot of those types don't really do their research. I don't find that their academic understanding of the texts are thorough enough for my liking. There's nothing I could find in the text that would validate that analysis of this is the womb and this is the phallus, except through perhaps remote analog. This loop does refer to the orbit of planets, because planets move in an egg shape. They don't move in a circle. So this loop means the orbital path of the planets or the sky deity. We use a male version of the sky god called Mun, or Mwana. Some call it Nut, some call it Nu. Yes? So this loop is the orbit of planets, rising, culminating in the south, setting, or orbiting the sun in an elliptical orbit. This line is the horizon. Yes, and this line is the meridian, the line that connects the north and south poles. Okay? Now the word Ankh in the dictionary means life, milk, sandals, or, and most importantly, the word for star is Ankh. Ankh. If you combine those into a logical compilation, your eternal life is based upon how you walked on earth in your sandals under the stars. What you nourished, the milk you took. Milk meaning life force, because this Ankh also means life force, where the black Indians, the Dalits and Dravidians, called Om. We say Ankh in Egyptian, in Rinkam. They say Om in Kush, which is Ethiopian Egypt. Indian Egypt, called Kush, Indus Kush. So this means Om, but Om refers to the life force of the stars that nourish you like milk while you're walking on the earth in your sandals. You see? So the word Ankh means, do you know what stars you're walking under and are nourishing you at this time? There are a lot of Kemetic black groups now that carry this Ankh. And I've asked them, why do you do that? Because I'm just seeing how intelligent they are and how much homework they've done. And then they give me this whole line of the woman, the womb, and the loop and all that stuff. I said, it's so hetero. And so, by hetero I mean it's so one-hit wonder. It's so flatland, not very dimensionally rich, not very sophisticated. So I find the heteros not very sophisticated, a lot of people. They're very, to me, flatland, one-dimensional kind of people for the most part. However, we also have Ankhs. We have a smith who makes our Ankhs for us in the Golden Beetle. And you can only carry your Ankh when you've studied the stars transiting your chart for the day. Otherwise, leave it on your altar. Don't pick it up. Because once you pick it up, you're doing a ritual saying, when you grab the Ankh, you're grasping it, right? Meaning you're comprehending, to grasp something, to grasp information. When you grasp your Ankh for the day, it is a ritual symbol that I know the stars transiting over my sky right now, sending me their milk or their energy, nourishing me along my sandal walk, my walk upon the earth today. I could put it in a nutshell. It means I know today's transits. Once you do that, once you've studied the transits, then you pick up your Ankh and you walk through town. But you're thinking about the stars, what they mean, and what to expect. Now, if you do this, if you carry the Ankh according to what it actually means, not making up stuff, but what it actually means, knowledge of the starry transits overhead while you're walking in your sandals on earth, then you will have a longer life, because the word Ankh means long life or eternal life. Why? Because you know what's coming today. You know, today I'm running funny transits. I should be careful of accidents, so you will live longer. Today I'm running funny transits with my communication, Sebek, Mercury planet. So if, let's say, you're a black man and an officer pulls you over, you know, keep your mouth shut. Don't go there. You'll live longer. What gives you a long life in your sandals on earth is knowing the Ankh in the heaven, the stars above. That's how a black man lives long time. You see? Then we have this word ucha, or uja. It means strength. Now, it's a strange looking word for strength, yes? It's really kind of hard to tell how these images mean strength. It actually is a mortar and pestle, where you ground herbs. Well, your strength comes from your diet, and your strength comes from voodoo roots. If you want to be strong in life, have a really high-level nutraceutical diet and pound a lot of voodoo roots to keep yourself strong. It's like, it doesn't just mean strength physically, it means mental strength, emotional strength, spiritual strength, and physical strength. So you have to use herbs, organic herbs, nutraceuticals, and voodoo roots to keep your spirit and your subconscious mind strong against bad voodoo, against bad evil eyes, against negative fluxes of evil chi. Then this word here, this folded bolt here, it means, some say seneb, we say sanub, because sa means nectar and nub means gold. This is the word for health, sanub. It is a, some say it is a a folded over bolt of cloth. Yes. Sanub, as a folded bolt of cloth means something well woven. Your body is a weaver. In fact, the god of healing was called Nut or Net. When you cut your hand, it actually weaves. If you look at it carefully, it's actually weaving, kind of webbing itself back together. There is a weaver that restitches the cloth. So the cloth symbolizes the skin, which is the cloth, so to speak, of your body. And when the skin is torn, the weaver begins to stitch or web the skin back together. How well and fast that happens is a function of your health. How fast you bounce back. See, health is shown by two things. A, how little do you get sick? And B, when you happen to fall sick, how fast do you bounce back? You see? So, when you get sick or get cut, how fast you heal is an index of your vitality level. So here we have Ankh. I know my transits, they will give me long life today. So I am long-lived today and forever. I'm healthy from good diet and good voodoo roots. Yes, Ankh, Uja, Sanub. I have strength, I mean here, and then I have health because I bounce back fast. Nothing gets me. My immune system is strong. Okay. Then we move on. Ari Neteru. Okay. Creator of the gods of my chart. Creator of the gods of my three great circles of my chart. The ecliptic, the horizon, and the equator. Actually, the ecliptic, equator, horizon. The three major circles required to make a chart. Okay? So, it's saying here that Ra here, is the creator of the gods, Ari Neteru. That the life force creates the gods in your chart. The life force is karma, creates the condition or the state of the gods. See, Ari Neteru, creator of the gods, can also mean your perception of the forces in your psyche. How you look at yourself. How you look, it's an eye. How you look at your seventh house of marriage. How do you see marriage? How do you look at your second house of money? What are your visions of money? How are you picturing this? It's saying that the condition of your life force, when you raise your life force, when you praise it, and act like you deserve the best, and study its stars with herbs and health, you will see a better way of looking at your chart's issues. You will see the optimistic, eyes wide open, higher perception of your chart. Then it says, Duatensu, Duatensu im arufe, meaning, Duatensu, adore ye him in his beautiful presence, in his rising in the adet boat of morning. What it's saying here is that adore ye Duatensu arufe, touch the stars of your chart, really get to know it. You see? And this star here is a five-pointed star. And just so you know, not all cultures made five-pointed stars. Many of the Navajo people, for example, make four-pointed stars in their symbology. We were the first, the blacks of Kemet. And the great astronomers and astrologers of Kemet were the gay men, the shamans, as the Dogon teach. We wrote this symbol. It is a five-pointed star, or pentad, and if you were to draw a circle around this star, and then draw a pentagon, meaning a five-sided shape around it, just connect the lines of the star, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you get a shape that resembles the Pentagon in the Pentagon building in America, and you measure the angles between the arms and the joints of the pentagram around it, you will get angles of 18 degrees, 54 degrees, 72 degrees, and I'm forgetting one, 18, 72, 54 degrees. These are all sacred numbers in astrology. And there is a calendar we have, a sacred calendar, a secret calendar called the Mummy's calendar. It's based upon the geometry of the pentagon, the five-pointed star, and its angles, 18 degrees, 54 degrees hiding in there, 72 degrees hiding in there. So, because the word for Venus is called Benu Osar. Benu Osar, Venus, meaning the resurrection of Osar, the resurrection of the ancestors. The planet Venus in Kemetic astrology means the planet that resurrects the ancestors, because Venus, if you know Hindu astrology, not Hindu, Hindu is the Aryan version of Black India. Vedic India and Hinduism is when the white Aryans came upon the blacks of southern India, called Indus Kush, Mohenjo-daro and Darapo Valley, and imposed apartheid called the caste system of the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the Shudras, and the Vaishnas. So, but in Black India, the word for Venus is Shukra. The word Shukra is where the word sugar comes from in English, sugar, because Venus is the sweet one. But Shukra also means semen. So in Egypt, the word for Benu Osar has Osar, god of resurrection, god of DNA. Well, DNA comes from where? It comes from the semen, comes from the reproductive cells, semen and eggs, right? So, through this star we learn there's a secret to resurrecting your ancestors based upon the angles of this star. And again, we're seeing through this a link between your chart, the ecliptic equator and horizon of your chart, and through this glyph, an inheritance as shown here with the prince word. That this star, the angles of it, what we call the mummy calendar of Benevolsar Venus, means you're inheriting certain traits, or you're activating certain traits of your ancestors at certain stages in a cycle of 5. Okay? But that calendar I only teach to my inner initiates, how it actually works. It's very powerful. Okay, so Ari Neteru Duatensu. So basically down here it says, give ye thanks unto him. Give thanks to your charts, karmas, that Ra made for you. Arufe, which says down here, gods, maker of the gods, in his beneficent form. Okay? What this, you see, there's a mummy here. This means in Arufe. Arufe here. The eye again. Look at your chart, and this is a mummy. It says, look at your chart from the point of view of your ancestral patterns repeating. When you realize you inherited things from your chart, that there are things that you inherited. For example, Ankh means life patterns. Uja means patterns of strength or weakness, congenital issues where you're strong in certain ways physically, DNA-wise, disease-wise, or weak. And Sanub, you've inherited health patterns from your lineage. And you should look at your chart in this part of the text from the angle of ancestry. So if you know that high blood pressure or cancer or sickle cell anemia or anger issues run in your family, you want to look at it and ask the ancestors to come through your chart in Ra's boat, on your chi, in their beautiful form. Please, you beg the chart. Ancestors that tended to have high blood pressure patterns, through Ankh Ujasanub, health, strength, and long life, and studying my charts, I want to ask you to minimize the disease that tends to run in my family and come in your beautiful form, meaning your healthy, balanced form. This line is just, to me, so exquisite in connecting us and our chart and our patterns and our ways and our constitution to our bloodlines. And here you're begging your ancestors, please don't come drunk. If I had drunk ancestors, don't come that way to me. If I had sickle cell or cancer running, please come not in that form, but the beautiful form. That's why it's a mummy who is not carved. He's open, like hollow, meaning he's receptive to hearing your prayer, to filling himself with a new understanding from your prayers. Then it says, Arufe Nefer. Nefer means beautiful. Nefer, beautiful. Yes? Come in your beautiful form. Then it says, Nefer, Khafe Adet. Khafe Adet. Oh, beautiful. Which means down here, so you can follow in English, in his beneficent form, which is enthroned in the Adet boat. I wouldn't quite translate it that way. I would say, in his beautiful form, in his beautiful DNA ancestral form, as he rises, Kafe Adet, as he rises in the morning boat. Now, I'm going to prove the logic of this line of thinking. O ancestors, come with your good DNA traits. Your turn whatever's negative in my DNA that my chart's showing me I have weaknesses in: psychological, emotional, mental, behavioral. Clean it up for me. Help me clean it up. Make it beautiful. As you resurrect. Ka means to rise in the east. As you resurrect, as you resurrect a positive thinking in my mind, because the east means consciousness. As you make me more enlightened in consciousness, as you rise in the adedetbot. Now this is our last portion here. This is the word adetet, and the word boat just as a determinative. This is the most important glyph. This is a weaver's shuttle. It's used for weaving threads, warp and woof. It's a shuttle. Now, when you see in a fertilized egg, there's a point where the egg divides and it goes to two opposite poles with these kind of thread-like shapes, like threads, this mitosis phasing. You're seeing that here implied, these kind of spindles of the mitosis process. You see, because when the egg is developing, we say it's being woven. The child's being woven in the womb. You see? And so this weaving means you are connected to the cloth of your ancestors. You are part of that bigger pattern. When you weave, you're making a pattern. You see? And you are part of a pattern. And look, this next word is a hand. Yes? Meaning woven by the hand of your ancestors. You weren't just born out of nothing in a vacuum. Your generations of grandmas, grandpas, and all this have their hand in the weaving of your life now. They're going to stitch bits and parts of themselves. Maybe you have grandma's nose and grandpa's height, and your uncle's ways with sailing boats or something. You have these traits woven into you, into your very DNA. And this double T, the letter T means matter or mass, but matter. The 2T, this letter T, this little loaf here, refers to your mother and father's DNA. The matter from your mother, the hand your mother had in weaving your ways and your body, and the hand your father had in weaving who you are. You see? And this boat simply means that DNA traits travel. They travel through the blood. This is the boat in this context of the traits that travel through blood, the river of blood. You see? And this word ka, meaning to rise, but it's light upon the horizon. If you look carefully at the glyph, it has the same hemisphere, this letter T hiding there, as you see here. 1, 2, and there's a third one hiding here with the beaming rays of the sun. This is actually a symbolic sun breaking the horizon with its rays on top, but it also visually resembles the letter T, saying when you are born in the East, when you reincarnate, the matter of your ancestors will radiate again through you, as was woven by the hand of your maternal and paternal lineages. Basically, all of this is saying is that the text we all read today is praise the ancestors in your chart. That your chart is actually a conglomeration of the issues and ways of your people. And give praise to that. And then turn what's not so good in your bloodline into beautiful form. Aru Nefer. Yes, a beautiful presence. beneficent form, and turn your lineage, ancestral family issues, your family dramas. Hopefully each child born will be the one to make it better. Each generation, it's telling you, through your chart, you're improving generations of ancestors, because although your chart's on a piece of paper, it is the fruit of generations of your people showing up at this point in time and space. So when you bring your chart into beautiful form, you actually lift all those that came before you, and you give hope for all those to come after you. So this line to me is one of the most poetic lines of the African scripture of this book. It is so exquisite and so sublime and so divine, and yet so practical. It can only be African. So, may you all get your African astrology charts, study them, learn to see how you are nothing more than the conglomeration with a twist added of your ancestors, and may you be the one to turn your family issues and your family negative dramas into beautiful forms worthy of a prince of the Creator himself. Dwawend Hotepu.